should have two handouts. We begin in this one on page 3. Ruth is going to momentarily. Protect and defend you. May God always shield you from shame. May you come to be in Israel a shining name. May you be like Ruth and like Esther. Strengthen us, O Lord, and keep us from the stranger's way. May God bless you and grant you long life. May the Lord fulfill our Sabbath prayer for you. May God keep you and shield you from strife. Protect and defend. May the Lord protect and defend. May God always shield you from shame. May God always shield you from favor us, O Lord, with happiness and peace. Oh, hear our Sabbath prayer. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. My pleasure to welcome everyone to our services this evening, both here and on YouTube. We're delighted to be able to be together on this special night. This is not the Taylor Swift concert. It's not Janet Jackson. It's not even the Celtics game. Thank you all for being here instead. In addition to our regular Shabbat observance, tonight is special because we have Kol Shalom, our choir, singing, and we will be acknowledging and appreciating our many volunteers who sustain our congregational life, and we will recognize and install the members of our board of directors who will begin their tenure next month, well, at the end of next month, July 1st. As a community, we gather to welcome you to these leadership responsibilities and to honor and thank you for your service. Ordinarily, we would begin by lighting the Shabbat candles, but they are already lit because we had our Tat Shabbat service earlier. So we're going to continue right on page 13 with our theme of welcome, Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem. Malachei Hasharim, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom. Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Huni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
And now we're ready to welcome the Shabbat bride on page 21. Lecha Dodi, come my beloved, to greet the bride.
Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Mishmiyanu elam yuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad. L'shem u'tiferet v'litila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekahabila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor habracha, merosh mikedem nesuka. Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila, lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekahabila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala. עטרת פלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בוריך לה, לך אדוני לקראת כלה, בני שבת בקהלה.
Having welcomed Shabbat in, we turn to page 23 for a special psalm for Shabbat, Psalm 92, which 4 lines from the bottom of the Hebrew says, Tzadik katamar yifrach, the second stanza from the end of the English, the righteous shall flourish like the palm tree, they shall grow tall like a cedar in Lebanon.
Katamar yifrach ke'erez balvanon yizkeh shetulim bebeit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu
Turn to page 27, and we rise for Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkada v'yitkada shemei Rabbi ve'alma divrach yirutei ve'amlich malchutei b'chayeichon uvyomeichon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael Bagala, Bagala, Ubizman Karib, Bimiru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevarach, Le'alam Ulam Me'amaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, Ve'yishtabach, Ve'yitpa'ar, Ve'yitromam, Ve'yitnasei, V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yithalal, Shemei Dekudesha Rechu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amim Miran Me'alma V'Meru. Amen.
Inside this supplement, on the second page, we find Am I Awake? Leading into Baruch Hu.
Yadidai-dai-dai, 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 yadidai-dai-dai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Yadidai-dai-dai, 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 yadidai-dai-dai.
Be seated. And we keep a finger on page 29 in our Siddur, but we turn to page 367 for a blessing for all of our volunteers, for all of our board members, for all of us. Page 367. May your eyes sparkle with the light of Torah, and your ears hear the music of its words. May the space between each letter of the scrolls bring warmth and comfort to your soul. May the syllables draw holiness from your heart, and may this holiness be gentle and soothing to you and all God's creatures. May your study be passionate, and meanings bear more meanings until life arrays itself to you as a dazzling wedding feast. And may your conversation, even of the commonplace, be a blessing to all who listen to your words and see the Torah glowing on your face. Back on page 29, our blessing, thanking God for the gift of Torah, gift of love, Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shalveinu u'b'kumeinu, nasriach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'b'mitzvotecha, le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu le'oret yameinu, uvahem neged yomam v'layla. Ve'avatecha tasir mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha. Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha. V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta b'ham b'shivtecha b'veitecha u'vlechtecha v'aderech u'v'shokbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha.
Page 31 and the 6th line from the top.
Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim v'yot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem emet.
On page 32, we celebrate our liberation, our redemption from Egyptian slavery and from all restriction, Mi Chamocha. After the Israelites have left Egypt and come to Mount Sinai and entered into covenant with God, God tells Moses to tell the people to build a mishkan, a tabernacle, a portable dwelling place for God. God knows that the people would be so excited and so eager to build this sacred structure that they would be committed to its construction, so committed that they would work around the clock until it was finished. So, at the end of the commandments about the Mishkan, God says, Ach et Shabtotai tishmoru. Nevertheless, you shall keep my Shabbat. Why nevertheless? Because God knows that out of their devotion to this divine task of building, they might be tempted to work straight through Shabbat, even on Shabbat. Nevertheless, Shabbat is so important, they needed to pause from their holy work to observe it. TCS volunteers are the same way. They busily build our Mishkan, our sacred place here. Out of their love for our congregation and their devotion to our community, they often work around the clock. But because the risk of our leaders giving so much of themselves that they burn out is real, we all need to remember, Ach et Shabtotai tishmoru. Nevertheless, you shall keep my Shabbat. Our volunteer leaders need their Shabbat too. And the importance of Shabbat in preventing burnout is reinforced by the well-known text that comes immediately afterwards. After reminding the Israelites to keep Shabbat nevertheless, God says, V'shamru. The Israelites shall keep Shabbat because, it says, God spent 6 days working hard to make the universe, and then God rested and was refreshed. If even God needed that day off after the week of creation, how much more do our temple leaders and temple members deserve Shabbat as well in order to rest and refresh themselves? We should not ask them, and they should not ask themselves, to do temple work on Shabbat. Out of love for our temple, out of love for our community, they may be tempted to work. Out of our love for them, we should reply, Ach et Shabtotai tishmoru. Nevertheless, you shall keep Shabbat. On page 34, V'shamru.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Turn to page 35B as we prepare to continue with the Amidah. We will begin together on page 35B and then continue individually from there. And if you wish to follow the liturgy of the Siddur, it goes through page 38, or you can look inside yourself for the words and prayers of your own heart. Noah, do you have a question? Okay, hit me.
If God didn't
we still have Shabbat even if it didn't say that? That's a great question. There are a lot of our texts, like Vishamru, that say that the reason for Shabbat is because God rested on the sixth day. And in Kiddush, we say that Shabbat is a reminder about the work of creation. And in the Ten Commandments in Exodus, we're told that it is because of the seventh day of God creating the world in 7 days. But there's another reason also. And when the Ten Commandments are repeated in Deuteronomy, we're told to take Shabbat because God freed us from Egypt. Right? And Kiddush also says that Shabbat is a zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, a reminder of getting out of Egypt. So we have both reasons for doing Shabbat, both to remember creation and God resting on the seventh day, and to remember that now that we're out of Egypt, we're not slaves anymore, right? We shouldn't work like slaves work. We should take the day to be free and to rest and to recharge. Good question. Thank you for asking. Amidah, beginning on page 35b, we begin by rising together. When you've had as much time as you'd like for your private prayers, you may be seated.
Adonai safatai tiftach ufia ki tehilatecha. Adonai safatai tiftach ufia ki tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot, U'mevi Goel Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava. Melech Ozer Ufoked Umoshiach Umaken Baruch atah Adonai Magen Abraham Ufoked Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei Metim Atah Rav Lehoshia Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechayei Metim Berachamim Rabim So make noflim, v'rafei cholim, u'matir asurim, u'mekayem emunato, v'shenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot, u'mido melach, melech mimit u'mechayeh, U'matzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atal hachayot metim. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hametim. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha tzela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Those words which close our private prayer section mean, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, O God, my rock and my redeemer. Among the prayers that we most sincerely, most passionately hope will be acceptable and heard are our prayers for our loved ones who are in need of healing, those for whom we care so deeply who struggle physically or spiritually or emotionally. Continue in the back of the Siddur, inside back cover, with our prayer for healing, Mishaberach. In our congregational family, we think particularly of Phyllis Burke, Arthur Campbell, Phyllis Dillon, Jane Dunlap, Harriet Flashenberg, Valerie Frank, Jonathan Gardner, David Glazer, Robert Gordon, Mike Kamens, Cheryl Leahy, Nancy Lewis, Nancy Mayer, Jonathan Panasuk, Mark Panasuk, Saul Payne, Walter Petrish, Gail Rosenberg, Joseph Roth, Michael Schreiber, Tal Schechter, Cindy Sherman, Elaine Swartz, Yonina bat David HaKohen v'Sarah, Esther bat Chaim v'Goldi, Fegi bat Shlomo Nisan Halevi. If there's someone who is in your heart tonight whose name you'd like to mention aloud, I invite you to do so now. Hold all of our friends and loved ones in our hearts.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
When we say the word Mishaberach, we usually think about the prayer for healing, but Mishaberach is a general term that means may the one who blessed, generally may the one who blessed our ancestors bless whoever, whatever group of people, whatever person we are speaking about. And as it happens, there is a Mishaberach for those who serve the community, for those who are volunteers and leaders of a congregation. And so on page 148, we'll read the English. It doesn't say Mishaberach in the English, but trust me. It begins with those words. page 148. Let's read together. May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless this entire congregation, together with all holy congregations, them, their sons and daughters, their families, and all that is theirs, along with those who unite to establish synagogues for prayer, and those who enter them to pray, and those who give funds for heat and light, and wine for Kiddush and Havdalah, bread to the wayfarer and charity to the poor, and all who devotedly involve themselves with the needs of this community and the land of Israel. May the Holy One reward them, remove sickness from them, heal them, and forgive their sins. May God bless them by making all their worthy endeavors prosper, as well as those of the entire people Israel. And let us say, Amen. In addition to this being board installation and volunteer appreciation Shabbat, and just being Shabbat in general, it is special because it is the last Shabbat of the month in the Jewish calendar. There's a special blessing that we say to welcome the new month that begins very soon. So we turn to page 150 for that blessing. Let's join together in the English at the top. May it be your will, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, to reawaken in us joy and blessing in the month ahead. Grant us a long life, a peaceful life with goodness and blessing, sustenance and physical vitality, a life of reverence and piety, a life free from shame and reproach, a life of abundance and honor, a reverent life guided by the love of Torah, a life in which our worthy aspirations will be fulfilled. Amen.
May God, who wrought miracles for our ancestors, redeeming them from slavery to freedom, redeem us soon and gather our dispersed from the four corners of the earth in the fellowship of the entire people Israel. And let us say,
Amen.
Amen. And now our new month, which is about to begin, we announce with the melody associated with that month. And in the coming month, we have the holiday of Shavuot, which, according to our tradition, is when we were at Mount Sinai to receive the Torah. It's the holiday of receiving the Torah. And so we'll use the melody, a melody for Eitz Chaim Hi, the tree of life. Rosh Chodesh Sivan Yeh b'yom rishon haba aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael letova. The new month of Sivan will begin on Saturday evening. May it hold blessing for us and for all the people Israel. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai dai dai.
Shehu HaKadosh Baruch Hu Aleinu V'al Kol Amo Beit Yisrael L'chaim u'l'shalom L'sason u'l'simcha L'shua u'l'nechama V'nomar.
Amen.
Together in English, may the Holy One bless this new month for us and for all God's people, the house of Israel, with life and peace, joy and gladness, deliverance and consolation. And let us say, Amen. We turn back to page 51 as we rise for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer b'reshit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו. וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת. אין עוד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
May be seated. As we prepare for Kaddish, we recall the loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. Tonight, we especially remember Ralph Goldberg, mother of Hannah Thomas, and Marcia Zeidman, mother of Nancy Peel, for whom we are still in Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning. And our congregational family remembers with special affection our loved ones whose yahrzeit will occur this coming week. Roberta Sherbakow, sister of Paula Kaczynski. Isabel Kamenson, sister of Myra Lapidus. Marsu Magid, father of Erica Krull. Daniel Pravorny, grandfather of Molly Miller. Sherry Courage, sister-in-law of Lily Krentzman. Norman Wernick, grandfather of Sandy Newfield. Alexander Flint, father of Suzanne Payne. Frank Poley, father of Karen Levine. Thelma Sirkin, mother of Tracy Paveo. If you are remembering someone this evening, we invite you to say that person's name aloud now. Zichronam livracha. May the memories of all our dear ones be a blessing. If you're saying Kaddish in someone's memory tonight, we ask you to rise now. In loving support of the mourners, we rise as a congregation. In gratitude to God for the gift of the lives of their loved ones, those who are in mourning and those remembering someone, say Kaddish on page 52. Yitgadal,
Yitgadash, Shemei Rabbah,
Ve'almad yivrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayei chon v'yomei chon, u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'zman kariv imru
Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah Mevarach
le'olam v'almei almaya,
Yitbarach v'yishtabach
v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shmei t'kudsha b'richu, La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, amiran b'alma v'imru
Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabbah min
Shemaya v'chayim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav,
Hu ya'aseh
shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru Amen. The source of peace, all who mourn, and comfort all of the bereaved. And we say,
Amen.
be seated.
O se shalom limroma, uya se shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'emeru. Amen.
This week we begin reading a new book of the Torah. This book and this week's portion are called the Bimidbar, which in English means in the wilderness, because it takes place in the wilderness. Right, good, thank you. Glad you're with me. The Israelites, having left Egypt behind them, are on their way to the promised land, so now they are in the wilderness. But in English, the book's name is Numbers. Why? Because it contains lots of numbers. The book of Numbers includes several countings of the people divided into different groups, and this particular portion includes 3 of them. First, there's a census of all the men over the age of 20 who can bear arms. Then there's a census of all Levite men over the age of 1 month. And finally, there's a census of all firstborn men over the age of 1 month. Despite the repeated census in the portion, Jewish tradition is wary about counting people, as I mentioned on Tuesday at the congregational meeting. We're not supposed to do it unless God tells us to do so. Why do we have this aversion to counting? Perhaps it is to remind us that people should not be reduced to their numbers. Calling people by number is businesslike, it's impersonal, it's dehumanizing. Think about Les Miserables, when Javert refers to prisoner 24601, and the prisoner, struggling to affirm his identity, calls back, "My name is Jean Valjean." But the jailer insists on only calling him by his number, intentionally diminishing him. Think about the faithlessness of calling a business with a question about an order or a bill, for whom we exist primarily as an account number. They don't even ask our names except to verify our identities. What they're really interested in is our number. We don't even have to mention the Nazis, who literally imprinted our numbers in our flesh. In contrast, Judaism refuses to demean people by letting them become identified by their numbers. The Talmud teaches the value of each individual by saying that anyone who takes another person's life has destroyed an entire world, and one who saves a life has saved an entire world. Each person, each individual counts for something. Not just for something, counts for everything. But at the same time, Judaism does not stop at the value of the individual. In imagining how Moses took this census of all the Israelites, our commentators refer back to an earlier episode in the book of Exodus. In the section describing the construction of the tabernacle, each Israelite brought different types of objects to the builders, including, we're told, a half shekel's worth of silver. So to count the community, perhaps Moses counted the amount of silver, the amount of half shekels, and then multiplied by 2. It's a pretty cumbersome method to do it that way, but it teaches a lesson that comes from an explanation of why each person brought only half a shekel. In Hebrew, each letter has a numerical value. And by adding up all the letters of a word, all the values of all the letters in a word, we get a value for that whole word. The numerical value of the word shekel is the same as the value of the word nefesh, which means soul. Our commentators suggest that by bringing half a shekel, the Israelites were reminded that each person alone was only half a soul. As an individual, each person was somehow incomplete. But by becoming part of the larger communal endeavor of building the tabernacle, the Israelites joined up all of their half shekels with each other, linking up their half souls together to become one united community. And it was only once they became a community and completed the tabernacle that God came to dwell in their midst. This cumbersome methodology teaches the importance of Jewish community. As individuals, although we are each infinitely precious, we too are in some ways incomplete. We need to join together with others in order to become whole. Even in our time, God appears most clearly in our relationships with other people. As they sing later in Les Miserables, to love another person is to see the face of God. When we join ourselves with other people to work together for a sacred purpose, to take care of each other and to care for each other, then we are able to sense God's presence most strongly. If we want our lives to be filled with meaning and purpose and holiness, we need to join together with our community. There is indeed power in numbers. Together, we can increase the light in our lives and the light in the world. I cannot think of a more appropriate message for volunteer appreciation and board installation, because just as each of us is in some sense incomplete until we join up our half souls with each other in our community, so would our community be incomplete without each one of you, each one of the half souls who build this congregation. Each one of you is unique. Each one of you is essential. Each one of you is irreplaceable. Like a menorah fully aflame on the last night, we need each one of you in order for the light of our community to shine as brightly as possible. So now we are ready to continue by installing, or in some cases, reinstalling, the candles in our menorah for this coming year. It's my pleasure to call on our shamash, the one who lights all of the other candles in our community, our president, Craig Barger, accompanied by Marty McIntosh, to lead us in installation.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Welcome to the board installation and volunteer appreciation Shabbat service. Tonight is an opportunity to acknowledge, honor, and thank our new, returning, and retiring board members and all those members of our community who volunteer their time, their energy, their expertise to support the day-to-day operations of our synagogue. I'm reminded of a quote from Turek Ashley: "The quality of your life will be determined by the quality of your contribution. When you work to improve the lives of others, your life improves automatically." Now, Rhonda Jelinek is out of town, so I prevailed upon my good friend Marty McIntosh to help us out tonight. Thank you, Marty.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Our board of directors and executive board is made up of talented and dedicated synagogue members. Each one serves our community by working on committees, assuming various leadership positions and working diligently to serve the needs of Temple Chaya Shalom. I am a member of the nominating committee, which makes recommendations to the board of directors to fill the positions for open terms on the executive board and the board of directors. I would like to thank the other nominating committee members, Jen Faber, David Reichman, and Chair Rhonda Jelnick. Tonight, we install new and renewing executive board and board members and recognize board members who will be stepping down from their positions. Executive board positions are for 2 years and general board positions are for 3 years. For those incoming board members who are present, please come to the bema when I read your name. Beth Herr, Scott Weber, Jane Dunlap, Alicia Dancy, David Flaschenberg, Adam Kempner, Jen Delaney, Howard Weissman, and Craig Barger.
Come on, wait till everybody. Come on up, guys, come on. Before we install these executive board and board members, we would like to recognize and thank the board members who will be stepping down from their positions. I only see one of my favorite people here tonight, so I would like to call up Franny Spivak. The other two that I spoke about at the congregational meeting, Josh Slovin and Joseph Emerson. Joe, Josh, and Franny, it is with sincere appreciation we thank all of you for your years of service to the TCS board and executive board. We appreciate the many hours you have spent working for the temple and benefiting our community.
I'm going to leave you. We need your handout.
You need your handout.
And we didn't tell you that until you came out here. So,
You got it, folks? Okay.
Our God and God of our ancestors, we stand before you this evening because of our dedication to the Jewish people. We are inheritors of a glorious tradition and teachers of generations to come. We are inspired by the teaching of our tradition and promise to let us guide you through our lives. Joe Emerson, Franny Spivak, and Josh Slovin, on behalf of the board of directors of this congregation, I officially relieve you of your duties as board and executive board members.
Franny,
No, you have to read something.
Franny, you have a
You have a reading.
I can't leave.
No, you have to read.
Our service to Temple Hay Shalom has been a labor of love. We have helped the congregation thrive and have personally grown through the process. As we step off the board of directors, we will continue to help our congregation succeed and flourish.
Absolutely no question about that.
Tonight, it is my pleasure to install the executive board members, Craig Barger, returning president, Adam Kempner, vice president, Jennifer Delaney, vice president, Alicia Dancy, vice president. We welcome the following people as board members: Beth Herr, Scott Weber, Jane Dunlap, David Flaschenberg, Howard Weissman. New board members, yes? Yeah, I was wondering what was happening.
It's all right, sorry.
As new members, that's what we're saying? As new members of the board of directors,
We dedicate ourselves to maintaining a vibrant, growing community built on mutual support and care. We pray for wisdom and understanding so that our efforts on behalf of this congregation may be significant and successful. May the effort we give to our holy congregation enrich our lives and our souls.
We thank you for your
Time.
time.
Right here.
we thank you for your time and commitment to this community.
Through your efforts, this congregation continues to grow and flourish.
You push us to strive for even greater heights in the future. Craig Barger, it is our pleasure to install you as the returning president of this congregation.
The members of this congregation have selected me to lead us through the year ahead. I accept the responsibility of president. I commit myself to faithfully serving Temple Chaya Shalom and to lead as an upstanding example for those within our community.
On behalf of our board and congregation, I welcome you to the board and thank you for your dedication and commitment.
Being a synagogue board member is not like serving on any other organization. Our board's responsibilities are not just financial, they are spiritual and educational. Our board does not work just for the good of our congregation and community, but for the good of Judaism as a whole. Our board looks for guidance not just to our congregation's bylaws and policies, but to the Torah and Jewish tradition. That is why we begin each of our meetings with the Dvar Torah, to bring the lessons of Jewish life to bear on our discussions and our decisions. To symbolize this charge and to consecrate our board members to this mission, we will now take the Torah out of the ark and hand it to each of our board members to hold. As you take the Torah into your arms, concentrate on this feeling so that you can remember it and carry it with you as you continue to do the work of our congregation. I'll invite the congregation to rise. Our God and God of our ancestors, bless these leaders and this holy congregation. May its future be filled with accomplishment and discovery. Help our board to lead by example, being motivated by their minds and their souls. And may you bless the work of their hands. We all say,
Amen.
Amen. Celebrate this joyous occasion. Shehecheyanu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
You want to do that first? Because I may overlap a little bit with you, but it's okay. Is that okay? Okay. I am truly honored and humbled that you have chosen me to lead this community for another year. I have to thank my wife for letting me do this. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I look forward to our continued success. Tonight, I am excited to honor those congregants who volunteer their time and energy to help create a warm and welcoming community here at TCS. One of the most important and impactful aspects of TCS membership is volunteering. I found a very appropriate quote from former President Bill Clinton. He said, and I quote, "Volunteering is an act of heroism on a grand scale. It matters profoundly. It does more than help people beat the odds. It changes the odds." Whether you serve on the board, as a member of one of our many committees and social clubs, or you help arrange chairs in the sanctuary and the multipurpose room, or you meet with families who are exploring membership, you improve and strengthen our community. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to volunteer. I need to repeat and express my deep appreciation to Franny, Joe, and Josh. Thank you for your commitment and service to TCS. I have enjoyed working with you, and I thank you for your support in helping to guide me as president. Welcome to our newest board members, Beth, Jane, Scott, David. I look forward to working with you over the next year, and I sincerely appreciate your willingness to assume leadership roles. You have heard me speak volumes over the last 4 years about the culture of philanthropy at TCS. And don't be shocked if I mention it several more times in the next fiscal year. But the philanthropy extends well beyond your donations. I sincerely and deeply appreciate the volunteer activities undertaken by this community. As a small token of our gratitude, we have gift bags that we will be passing out. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.
So we overlapped a little, but I'll just.
Okay, all right, okay.
So I'll just provide a little more context to that, and that is to say that one of my favorite stories concerns the congregation that decided to build a new temple. As the building took shape, the congregation could watch it going up, and they grew more and more excited as the structure got more and more complete. After several months of eager anticipation, the building was finally finished. The entire congregation gathered together for a grand tour. It was a magnificent building with high ceilings, tall windows, an intimate sanctuary, beautiful classrooms, everything the congregation could want. Everyone was extremely pleased until they noticed that one thing was missing. There were no lights anywhere in the building. No chandeliers, no fluorescent lights, no recessed lighting, nothing Adam Kempner had put in, nothing at all. Everyone began to shout and complain all at once, as Jews do, until the architect raised his hands. When the crowd got quiet, he explained. See that big box by the front door? In that box, there are candles for every family. Whenever you come to the synagogue, bring your candle with you. That way you will know that whenever you are not here, our community will be a bit darker. And whenever you do come to be part of the community, our light will burn that much brighter. Tonight we honor all of our volunteers who bring their candles to our community, who join together to give so much of your time and your energy and your passion and your creativity in so many different ways that keep our community lit. Without all of you, our community would not be able to fulfill its potential. Indeed, we would be unable to exist at all. Our volunteers make us a welcoming, dynamic, thriving community. Our volunteers greet worshipers coming to services and engage our current members and reach out to attract new members. Our volunteers provide our Oneg Shabbat snacks after services and help create and run our educational programs and our ritual observances and maintain and secure our temple building. Our volunteers gather food for the hungry and call sick or bereaved people to see if they need anything and sing with all their hearts. Our volunteers organize programming for our seniors and our youth, and for our women and for our men. In countless other ways, our volunteers make this congregation go. I know how much I depend on our volunteers to fulfill our sacred mission. Without your selfless devotion, your boundless enthusiasm, and your inspiring creativity, our temple and our congregation would be simply alone in the dark. So I'd now like to invite anyone who chairs one of our congregational committees to come up to the bima so you can be recognized. There are at least a few of you out there. I think Oneg is a committee, isn't it? Committee of one, but still a committee. The sign committee, absolutely. And now, I would like to ask anyone here who volunteers for our congregation in any capacity to rise at your seats. Yeah?
Jen, get up.
Yeah? Ira, don't you deal with security issues? No?
We'll get you on a committee next
I was
year.
pretty sure you did, but okay. To you, our volunteers, we give our deep appreciation and our gratitude. And for you, we ask God's blessing in the words of Psalm 92, which we sang earlier. Tzadik katamar yifrach, ke'erez balvanon yizgeh, shtulim beveit Adonai, bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu. The righteous will flourish like the palm tree. They shall grow tall like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they will thrive in the courts of our God. As you enable so many others to be planted here in this house of Adonai, so may you always flourish and stand tall and thrive. Amen. And thank you all. Please remain standing as we come around with our small token of appreciation.
Sure.
Everybody get?
You got?
And yes, it is a pair of candles, which illustrates how the light that each one of you brings improves our temple life for so many more.
I just want to say that my lovely wife put all this together, and I tried to get her to stay so I could thank her, but she snuck out, so.
But yeah, she stuck up because she has already done a tremendous amount of volunteer duty tonight, not just putting these together, but arranging Tat Shabbat, preparing the dinner for Tat Shabbat. Right. She is well worthy of all of our thanks in many ways.
You're absolutely right.
We're now going to sing a song in the handout. That is, when you open it up, it is in the bottom right corner called Lo Alecha. And this is a piece of wisdom from our sages, from Pirkei Avot, the sayings of our sages, that has everything to do with being a board member or being a volunteer, because it talks to the reality that there is always more to do, and it is so easy to be overwhelmed with how much there is to do, that it's a very human response to say, we can't get all this done, why bother at all? And our tradition says that's not the best response, that instead one should feel that it's not our obligation to complete the task of repairing the world, but you're not free to stop trying and doing what you can do. And that's the message of this piece. Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, lo alecha ligmor, lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, lo alecha ligmor, velo ata ben chorim lahibatel mimena, velo ata ben chorim, velo ata ben chorim lahibatel mimena, velo ata ben chorim. Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, lo alecha ligmor, lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, lo alecha ligmor, velo ata ben chorim lahibatel mimena, velo ata ben chorim, velo ata ben chorim lahibatel mimena, velo ata ben chorim.
Jenny, can I call you back to the Bima one more time for announcements?
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So Torah study tomorrow with Rabbi Carr begins at 9 a.m. in person with bagels and coffee. It'll also be remote if that's what you prefer. Havdalah service tomorrow will be at 7 p.m. on Zoom only. And this Thursday at 7 p.m., join us for a Shavuot service and the confirmation of our 10th graders. Wednesday, June 14th, noon at TCS, join us for a historical presentation on Jordan Marsh by TCS member Steve Braidman, former Vice President and General Manager of Jordan Marsh Boston. Bring your own lunch and enjoy Jordan Marsh's famous blueberry muffins. If you have not had them, they are amazing. And they will be served for dessert. So RSVP to Ruth Albert for that. Save the date, bring your family and friends to Shabbat in the Park with pizza at Borderland Park on Friday, June 16th from 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And Tot Shabbat will be held before at 4:45 p.m. All the info you need is in Monday's email. Also, just in case anybody wants to participate in a last-minute plan, this Sunday at 1 o'clock, Sisterhood and Brotherhood are joining together at Westgate Lanes for some bowling. And we would love to have you with pizza and salad. And so if your plans allow, just show up and we'll put you on a lane. Remember to bring your unwanted clothing to TCS until June 17th. Contact Sandy Newfield if you have any questions. She is also now taking books. So I know a lot of people look for places to donate old books. Information and links to all our activities are included in the weekly emails on Monday, as well as any special notices. And when you drop off your name tag after services, please be sure to take a copy of the TCS committee report, which is in the racks there. If you don't already have one, it's great to read about all the things that people are doing. So, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Thank you, Jen. Just a word about two of the services. I'm a rabbi. It's kind of an occupational hazard for me to love all of our services. But one of the services that I really love is confirmation with our 10th graders. We have a fabulous group this year, 5 tremendous 10th graders who have studied together with me all year and have, with great thoughtfulness and dedication, prepared a service for Thursday night. It's not just the confirmation service, it's also our Shavuot service, which will include Yizkor as well. And whether you know them or not, it's a really uplifting and meaningful evening to see these young adults and their dedication and devotion to Judaism and to each other. So I invite you to join us at 7 o'clock on Thursday for Shavuot confirmation Yizkor. And then 2 weeks from tonight is our next Shabbat Nashira. So 6:30 on Friday, June 2nd, followed by potluck dinner. The information and the sign-up genius will be going out probably next week, or maybe, yeah, I think probably next week. So join us for that as well. And next Friday for a regular Shabbat service also, that's good too. But those two special ones coming up.
We have a closing song in the handout on the back. This is also highly relevant to all of our volunteers and board members. It is Pete Seeger's last song that he wrote. And it's a good one. God's counting on me, God's counting on you. Oh, it's repeat after me. So I sing a line, you sing the line again. When we look and we see things are not what they should be, God's counting on me, God's counting on you. Your turn. When we look and we see things are not what they should be, God's counting on me, God's counting on you. Hoping we'll all pull through, hoping we'll all pull through, hoping we'll all pull through, me and you. Don't give up, don't give in, working together we all can win. God's counting on me, God's counting on you. Don't give up, don't give in, working together we all can win. God's counting on me, God's counting on you. Hoping we'll all pull through, hoping we'll all pull through, hoping we'll all pull through, me and you. There's big problems to be solved, let's get everyone involved. God's counting on me, God's counting on you. There's big problems to be solved, let's get everyone involved. God's counting on me, God's counting on you. Hoping we'll all pull through, hoping we'll all pull through, hoping we'll all pull through, me and you. What we do now, you and me, will affect eternity. God's counting on me, God's counting on you. What we do now, you and me, will affect eternity.
God's counting on me. God's counting on you. Hoping we'll all pull through. Hoping we'll all pull through. Hoping we'll all pull through. Me and you. Hoping we'll all pull through. Hoping we'll all pull through. Hoping we'll all pull through. Me and you. With this theme of counting from Pete Seeger and from our Torah portion, there's one more thing for us to count tonight, and that is the Omer. We are in this period between Passover and Shavuot, marking our journey to Mount Sinai, which, as we've mentioned, we will celebrate Thursday night with Shavuot and confirmation. But our tradition tells us to count these days as we look with anticipation eagerly forward to that moment. So on page 55, we find in the first paragraph of Hebrew, most of that first line, all the way up to the last word, is the first part of the melody we're going to sing. Then, the bottom paragraph is the blessing for counting the Omer. And finally, on page 59 is the actual counting of the Omer for this day, this new day that is beginning tonight. As we say goodbye to day 43, we will count the next day when we get to that part in the song. Please rise. Hineni muchanu mezuman lekayem mitzvat aseh. Hineni muchanu mezuman lekayem mitzvat aseh. Shel Sfirat HaOmer, Shel Sfirat HaOmer, Shel Sfirat HaOmer, Shel Sfirat HaOmer. Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirshanu, b'mitzvotav tetzivanu, al sfirat haomer, al sfirat haomer, al sfirat haomer, al sfirat haomer. Hayom arba'a ve'arba'im yom, Shem shisha, Shavuot u'shnei yamim, la'omer, 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 la'omer. That is 44 days, 6 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. We will continue in the foyer with Kiddush and Motzi. Those of you who are on YouTube can come back over to Zoom and you'll be able to join us in the foyer. Shabbat Shalom, and thank you again to all of our volunteers. Mazel Tov again to our board.
Shabbat Shalom, Mazel Tov.